Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for November 29, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, American offered a $500,000 bail in weapons purchase case. An American businessman who allegedly purchased 5 of the weapons that were discovered in a massive gun find in a warehouse at the wharf in Kingston in March last year has been offered bail in the sum of $500,000. The 32-year-old defendant, Fitzroy Johnson, who resides in Atlanta, Georgia, was last Tuesday granted bail in the gun court on conditions that he surrender his travel documents and report to the police 3 times weekly. Attorney at law Kemar Robinson, during his application, denied any involvement on the part of his client in the importation and the purchase of the illegal guns and ammunition. He was arrested at the Norman Manley International Airport on his arrival in the island on November 3. Johnson, who is charged with a conspiracy to illegally import guns and ammunition, is the 3rd foreigner to have been arrested in the illegal gun find, in which 2,000 rounds of ammunition were also discovered. According to investigators, Johnson had entered into an arrangement and paid for 5 of the illegal guns. In the meantime, 4 other persons who are charged in the matter, including the alleged mastermind and the other 2 foreigners, had their bails extended to return to court on December 14 for a plea and a case management hearing. A trial date was also scheduled for May 13 next year. Godfrey Martin, otherwise called Rev, a St. Elizabeth businessman who is alleged to be the mastermind, was arrested and charged with a conspiracy to illegally import guns and ammunition. Sherilyn McLean, the girlfriend of the 51-year-old businessman, was also charged in the matter. Similarly charged are 2 United States nationals, Jermaine Baker, a 36-year-old chef of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and a 42-year-old Dervon Brown, a construction worker of Bronx, New York. Brown was shot and killed in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, on November 6. The 4 were charged following the illegal gun find on March 4, 2022. 3 rifles, 18 handguns, and 2,216 rounds of ammunition were discovered after customs officers detected a suspicious package and summoned the contraband enforcement team. PNP wants duty-free importer threshold moved to US $150. While welcoming plans by the government to raise the duty-free threshold for personal imports come next April, the opposition People's National Party wants it to increase the allowance even further. Speaking at the Jamaica Labour Party's annual conference at the National Arena in St. Andrew on Sunday, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark disclosed that allowance will move from US $50 to US $100 and that the threshold for Jamaicans returning with goods bought abroad will move to US $1,000, up from US $500. In a statement, the PNP called the move progressive, while arguing that its president, Mark Golding, had made the recommendation in the 2022 budget debates. This as responsible governance, incorporating a good idea previously touted by the opposition leader and which will benefit Jamaicans. The opposition is, however, urging the government to consider raising the duty-free allowance further to US $150. The PNP is contending that this would significantly benefit consumers, leveraging e-commerce opportunities to manage living expenses through modern technology and logistics. In addition to advocating for the US $150 threshold, the PNP reiterated its proposal to lower the cost of clearing barrels at the wharf, currently at $6,500 per barrel. This reduction, it said, would aid Jamaican families receiving barrels of essential items from overseas relatives, offering relief during these challenging economic times. The opposition said its commitment remains unwavering in presenting policies prioritizing the economic and the social welfare of all Jamaicans. Ex-cop's murder believed to be linked to viral nightclub brawl. Investigators yesterday revealed that preliminary accounts have suggested that a deadly early morning double shooting in the parking lot of Marketplace, located off Constant Spring Road in St. Andrew, might be connected to a recent nightclub brawl. Homicide detectives told the news they visited at least 2 corporate area locations yesterday as part of their probe. A video snippet of the Club Mecca incident, which the police said took place on Saturday, has gone viral and shows what appears to be bouncers at the club manhandling at least one patron. Bar tables, chairs, and bottles were not spared as an unknown individual, clad in jeans and a white t-shirt with a black duffel bag, was thrown and dragged about. Just days later, Damien Panda Coley, a former policeman and the club's security personnel, was one of two men shot around 2:30 a.m. on Tuesday. The other man, also a security guard at the 67 Constant Spring Road location, but not employed to the club, received gunshot wounds to the chest. Coley, who is of a Spanish Town St. Catherine address, died on arrival at the Kingston Public Hospital, while the injured man was rushed to surgery. His condition was not disclosed. Reports from the St. Andrews Central Criminal Investigation Branch are that a lone gunman armed with a firearm exited a white Toyota Axio that was parked near the marketplace entrance gate along Constant Spring Road. The gunman reportedly engaged a guard at the security post before walking into the parking area and towards an area where shops are located. As Coley exited his Ford Explorer SUV, the gunman opened fire, hitting the former lawman several times. While leaving the scene, the gunman fired his weapon again, hitting the guard with whom he earlier had dialogue, and continued shooting until he escaped in the waiting motor vehicle. The Corporate Communications Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force confirmed the reports of the deadly double shooting and the police investigation. The news understands that Coley resigned from the JCF last year and was last assigned to the training school branch. Investigators close to the probe told the news that the now deceased man was shot at least 5 times. The last time I checked, he was at a training school. He's a good brother. I was surprised when I saw the news. Is the gleaner I saw it in first and say, then this real? When I call another colleague who knew him, I was told he had resigned from the force and doing good for himself, a former colleague told the news. Marketplace has over the past year returned to being the go-to location in the corporate area for its nightly offering inside the Mecca, a club and a lounge. However, Tuesday was the second time this year that a shooting incident has occurred at the location. On July 7, 6 members of dancehall artist Josh's entourage were shot and injured while they were leaving Marketplace. The entertainer's birthday party had just concluded at the popular nightclub. A vendor who earns a livelihood catering to the many needs of patrons told the news that it would be a shame to see his sales slow or be cut altogether just before the busy Christmas period. The foolishness and bag of gunslinging now go nowhere. People can go out and enjoy themselves without bad vibe. The place nice right through. Dolly Sundays go on over there and everybody come here. At the Christmas I come and watch day, the vendor said. Up to early yesterday, investigators were still at the location trying to piece together clues. In the meantime, the St. Andrews Central Police Division has recorded 47 murders as of November 25. This represents a 34% decline when compared to the similar period last year. In contrast, however, shooting has recorded an increase. There were 57 reported incidents when compared to 52 for the corresponding period in 2022. The national murder toll, according to the JCF, is 1,253, a 10% reduction year-on-year. Child labor concerns. As international bodies raise concern about an increase in cases of child labor, some Jamaican organizations are also sounding the alarm. Data from a report by the International Labour Organization paint a grim picture of child labor worldwide. There's no recent Jamaican data on the matter, but a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Colin Robert Risden, says there is a potential threat of child labor in Jamaica. She pointed to a 2016 study which showed more than 37,000 children identified as being child laborers across the country. Mrs. Roberts Risden says a major concern now is the recruitment of young boys into gangs. In an effort to combat child labor, the ministry, in collaboration with the Statistical Institute of Jamaica and the International Labour Organization, jointly developed a child labor risk model. It shows that approximately 64,000 children are at risk of child labor. 40 labor inspectors and 120 social workers will also be trained to bolster efforts to eliminate child labor.